Got a Yamaha cdc745 customer complaint, it doesn't play. There are some common problems on these units here, and this is one of the common problems, and unfortunately sometimes you can't get parts and you have to get creative to get them working. Let's see if I can get this one working. Today I have a Yamaha CD player. This is a cdc745, and it complaint is it doesn't play. Looks like it's not reading the disc. Let's find out why. Does not appear to be focusing. So I'll take a look at the laser and see whether the laser itself is lifting up and trying to focus. So let me just get that screw that I dropped out of there. Okay, here's the laser. I'm just going to close the So the laser is lifting, like it's trying to focus. Just get a close-up look at that lens and see if it's dirty. Make sure that this laser is all the way forward. Oh, it's not. Aha! Aha! So the laser wasn't all the way forward. I wonder if that's all that's wrong with this, is that it was stuck. That's quite common, that these gears will get a oh, you know what? I think we got a dead spot on one of these gears, and this is getting stuck. I think that's the problem on this, is that there's a dead spot on one of these gears. Probably the motor itself, the main motor gear. And what's happened is the laser itself has gotten stuck and it's not at the home position. Because as I turn this, I can feel some resistance. Right there. You hear that, or there's some dirt in there. Let's get a closer look at that gear. So here's a close-up of the gear that I'm thinking may have a problem. Ah, there's the problem. You see it? There's a crack right there at about the 5 o'clock position. You can see a crack in this gear right down there. And when it turns, it sticks. You can see it's not turning smoothly when I'm trying to turn it by hand. Turn smoothly for the rest of the rotation, but it gets stuck right there. So what I need to do is I need to try and find a new gear for that that motor. That might be a tall order to try and find that, or maybe try and fix that one. I'll pull the gear off itself and we'll see whether I can repair it by fusing it with heat, or whether I can find another gear that is similar off of another old scrap CD player. That's probably my best bet, is to see if I can find one in another CD player that might fit this one. So first I'm going to remove the CD mechanism so that I can get the motor out of there, and then at that point I'll be able to determine whether I can get a gear or find one for it. I don't think I'd be able to buy a new one, but I might have a scrap unit that has the same tooth pitch. I gotta short the laser pickup test points here before I unplug this thing. And they're right down here. So I just have to put a jumper across this before I unplug these. Otherwise I could pop the laser. Then I can unplug the motor and work on it outside of the unit itself. There. That is now shorted. So now I can unplug the two plugs that connect the optical pickup to the rest of the chassis and the motor down here. If I turn this by hand, you'll hear it going tick, 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 tick. That's bad. I'm just going to unsolder the spindle motor so that I can lift the other one out with the gear on it. That way I don't have to disassemble the mechanism. Of course, that being cracked like that, that just lifts right off. There's no tension whatsoever. So now I got to see if I can find one of these little gears, or in worst case scenario, maybe I can heat this up to reattach it. You know, put some, maybe I can't put any glue in there, but if I can get some heat on there to cause it to not spread apart from the from being mounted on the shaft. But let me go through my parts bin and see if I can dig up one of those first. Got a mechanism here that I took out of a Sony that may have compatible gear. So I'm going to pop this gear off of this one so we can do some measurements and see whether it's going to fit. Hopefully it's going to be the same teeth pitch. Oh no, it's not. I can already see that it's not. This one here has teeth that appear to be angled straight down. Take a closer look at that. Yeah, this one here, the teeth are angled. So this one's not going to be compatible, as you can see here. Right, this one, the teeth are angled, not straight. And the broken one, the teeth are straight. Probably why they went to angled teeth, so that the gear didn't break like that. Okay, I don't have another gear. I've looked through everything and I don't have one that's the same. It's just what I've done is I've just tried to fuse this back together and put some heat on it to seal up the crack where the crack was. So see if I can get a close up here, because I think I've got it good enough that it's going to hold at least for a while. You know, it may crack again, but then a new gear could crack as well, because after all, the original one cracked. But let's take a close-up and see how how good this is. There was a good sized space that you could see before, and now there's not. So right here where I fused these teeth together, that's where the crack was. It was right here. Where I'm pointing. It was right down here. There was a space between these teeth. And that space has now been closed up by fusing the plastic both above it, or the crack, and down below it and right into here. So I'm just going to reassemble this unit. I mean, it's not ideal. We like to change parts when we can get them, but I don't have one. I've went to the suppliers that sell gears and so forth, and at least the suppliers that I have access to don't have anything like this. Just want to make sure that I'm at the right height here so that it's not going to hit the area that I fused, and see if it'll turn freely. Well, it's not sticking. It's turning nice and smooth. I'm going to try that because I don't have access to one of these little gears. Everywhere I've looked, I haven't been able to find any type of a replacement for it. And I don't have one of this type. I've got others, but I don't have one of this size and this type. So we'll try this and see whether this fixes it. And you know, if it can make the unit work, great. If not, well, we tried, right? So that's the motor resoldered back onto the circuit board. Let's put the unit together and see whether it'll play. Okay, now I'm just going to remove the solder that's shorting the pickup, protect it. There we go. Okay, this unit is still working. So whether I can say that this is a success that's going to last forever, I don't know. Could last a week, could last a year, could last a day. Unfortunately, unless I were able to get that gear and replace it, there's no knowing how long it's going to last. That being said, yes, I know someone's going to say you can 3D print it. Great, you want to 3D print me one? Go ahead. I don't have a 3D printer. I'm not going to invest in a CD printer or a 3D printer and the software to print a stinking gear out on a piece of equipment that's not worth anything, basically. Unfortunately, that's the way this stuff has gotten. If you can't get parts for them, they're really not worth spending a lot of money on. Unless I can find another unit that's got the same gear that I can rob. But again, they're all those gears cracked. That's the problem. That was a common problem, was that gear cracked on a lot of these players. That's why a lot of them went in the garbage, because the gear cracked and the part wasn't available. So we'll see how long this one runs. If I come across another unit I can steal a gear from, I'll do that. But at this point, I'm just going to leave it and see how long this one plays.
Thanks for watching.